And coming soon to a TV near you, The Hill on NewsNation, a new hour-long weekday political program debuts this Monday, April 24th. And joining us now to talk more about it is NewsNation's political editor, Chris Stirewalt. And Chris, first of all, thank you for joining us, but let's get right to it. Tell us about this brand new show, and more importantly, what can viewers expect?
Well, look, I mean, I live in D.C., and people who live in the D.C. area are more subject to this than maybe anybody else in the country. We just get burned out on it, right? The politics is so corrosive, it's so ugly, it's so nasty that people say, I can't take it. I'd rather talk about anything but that. And that's not good enough, right? We have obligations as citizens, we have obligation as a country to be informed, to be part of the discussion. So we have a job to do. And the job we have to do is to have a conversation that is, yes, sometimes fun, yes, sometimes entertaining, but also respectful, but also honest, but also informed by the facts. We need to make a space in this country and in our politics and in political media for decent people to come in and not just get heat, not just get hot takes, not just get burns, but get light, right? To have these issues illuminated. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to try to do, and I'm proud to be part of it.
You know, Chris, you talk about the importance of honesty. Talk about, you know, the Hill's reputation in D.C. circles right now.
Well, look, I am so pleased. You know, Bob Cusack, the boss over at The Hill, longtime friend of mine, somebody I've gotten to work with for years. He's going to be part of the show, and other players at The Hill will be there. They're great reporters. Their folks are going to be part of the show. I'm an ink-stained wretch, right? I started in the newspaper business, and that's the energy that we want to bring. We want to bring facts. We want to bring the real story and real discussion that can disagree, sure, but not do it in a disagreeable way. It's not interested in partisan dunking and scoring points as much as it is about really finding out where people stand and, heaven forbid, actually finding out what the solutions are.
Chris, can viewers expect any special guests coming up?
Well, it's funny you would mention that. On Monday, for our first guest, former Vice President Mike Pence will be with us. And I know that you may be around, Mr. Vice President, and watching the news in D.C. So if you want to go ahead and make your presidential announcement on Monday, we'd be welcome. You'd be welcome to do so. We'll be ready if you do want to do that. But whatever Mike Pence is going to do about a presidential run, the time is coming soon, right? He's got to decide in the coming weeks, where does this really stand? And he's been talking about it, and he knows that he is at a really difficult juncture in the Republican Party, in the history of the Republican Party. Because of January 6th, he is hated by many of his former boss, Donald Trump supporters, and the former president. They really hate this guy. On the other hand, he won the respect and admiration of a lot of Republicans in the other half of the party that admired him for taking a stand at great risk to himself to certify the results of the election. How does he see the party now? Where does he see the Republicans' way forward? How does he feel about what Ron DeSantis is doing? What does he think the condition of the Republican Party is? I want to know, and we're going to ask him.
Chris Stirewalt, thank you very much. And again, The Hill debuts Monday, April 25th, in an interview with special guest, former Vice President Mike Pence at 5 p.m. on NewsNation.